Let's consider a phenomenon that is sweeping through our industry like a tsunami, waves of unrequested technical change, leading to an unrelenting storm of AI beating up against the perimeter walls of our data castle and rendering our protective moats ineffective. Stretching the architecture, testing access portals, looking to infiltrate and gain access to our data by enticing us to reach for a previously unobtainable efficiency with the promise of an easier life. The speed at which new risks are surfacing is truly something to behold. While we are given choice to tick a self-protective box, can we be sure that these new technologies are keeping their promises? AI adoption issues are materializing into real-world data breach incidents, causing legal and regulatory issues faster than the market can update their mitigation plans. The velocity and unpredictability of everything from base case AI adoption infiltration, deepfake fraud, AI-assisted hacking, IP violations, competition abuse, and compliance cost creep has begun to create some friction. Early adopter ripples are starting to feed back into courts and onto regulatory radars. Systems are updating and downloading new AI-driven access options overnight, sometimes before users have given their consent or in ways in which the impact of clicking a new button potentially bypasses the security protocols put in place to protect your assets. The impact is erupting in the headlines and landing in boardrooms and courtrooms, with new cases cropping up almost weekly regarding the stresses that the inertia is having on our controls environment. It's a storm front that's challenging the static gates of resilience and compliance, as agile development practices are beginning to override cautionary approaches, as providers seek to capture competitive presence on your IT infrastructure by generating a general expectation that adoption will be to your benefit with disregard for the potential issues that may arise as we unleash this new form of Uber efficiency across our fragile and to date less complex data universe. While there have been previous conversations telegraphing the risk of embracing AI too easily in the ecosystem, the wider technology community and user base may have drunk most of the Kool-Aid, creating an environment where the adoption of new tech is not just uncontrollable, but it feels like it is being quietly hardwired into our daily workflows behind the scenes. Industry surveys, perhaps weighted in favor of those with more resources or lower risk profiles, are presenting distorted peer usage as a justification for adoption. Keeping up is important in our industry, but blind adoption can be dangerous, as strict liability for data loss is an emerging standard and insurance companies may struggle with coverage. A recent US court decision indicates a direction of travel. Companies can be hammered with penalties even when they've acted in good faith to prevent such outcomes. Sooner or later, data will find its way outside your perimeter, and standard industry defenses are struggling to keep pace with the problem. As our good friend from Regulalytics points out, it is worth considering the impact on business of enforcing these costs. In this recent case, the complainant argued harm or emotional damage simply because the data had shown up on the dark web. You might assume you can push back on this relentless parade of updates, clickbait features, and inverted comma helpful new automation tools. Sometimes you can ignore or click off the noise, but more often you will need to enlist the support of your IT people, as you may have experienced trying to avoid default software options during the regular agile software update cycle can be difficult to maintain over time. Note that this is just an AI-generated illustration.
System update required to continue. Update now. Support will end if you do not update. Security risk detected.
No
Update
cookies, please.
now. Work
More
product may
often,
be
the change
lost.
to your system occurs at update points or overnight with either limited information or so much information that it makes it difficult to understand. You might wake up one morning to find a fresh button on your phone, inviting you down the rabbit hole of automated email writing, another nudge toward AI dependency. It sometimes feels like we tried to melt down Clippy, Word's paperclip assistant in a furnace almost 2 decades ago, only to see it reforge itself inside some productivity agent ready to help in ways we never asked for. The major concern is that typically the free support versions will be given to you free, well, in return for access to your data. The more secure versions seem to have tiered protections that are still very much dependent on trusting the provider and their information security audit firm. You should check terms to see how you might be protected, and don't forget to review your liability limits and exclusions as well. While trust may be offered, there may be less of a relationship with the software than you can establish with a human. It's as if the AI ecosystem is determined not to let anyone refuse its charms. Market forces and developer ambitions driving the human race into a frenzied land grab for the new frontier of AI. Whether we're ready or not, there's no dawn of the machines as yet, no lawnmower man apocalypse. But make no mistake, the coming years will be dominated by our industry's collective struggle with these emerging risks. responsibilities, and the real need for working mitigation measures when adopting technology. It requires more substance over form than ever before. It's not just whether you can stay compliant, it's whether your systems, people, and partners can stay on top of the accelerated changes. The cases and headlines say it all. Mitigation can't be an afterthought. Change is ongoing and sometimes below our radar, often at breakneck speed, but always demanding focus, preparation, and our best efforts to stay on top of the changes as they may crop up. While we have the tools to tackle these challenges, firms need to retune and refocus them on the shifting sands beneath the feet to ensure they don't get pulled into the undercurrent challenging stability when they would least want it to. It is not all doom and gloom, but we must appreciate that AI tools can be like quicksand. We need to keep our hands anchored and heads up. Note that this is just an AI-generated illustration.